Hello and welcome to the interface. This is Harikumar with the fifth episode on the mysterious life and profound teachings of Prabhakara Siddha Yogi. Prabhakara Siddha Yogi or Shiva Prabhakara Siddha Yogi is a wandering mystic or an Avadhuta who was born in 1263 AD and attained Mahasamadhi in 1986. Many believe that Prabhakara Siddha Yogi extended his life by transmigrating his soul into different bodies. And some people believe that he is still alive and around. In the previous episodes, I narrated the information which I gleaned from people who had first-hand experience with Prabhakara Siddha Yogi and popular myths and newspaper reports on Prabhakara Siddha Yogi. I never had any occasion or opportunity to interact or even see Prabhakara Siddha Yogi. Though he was alive during my childhood, I was not too interested or not much aware of it. So I have not many miraculous experiences while I collected information on Prabhakara Siddha Yogi. However, I had a couple of experiences which cannot be explained by the modern logic or scientific logic. I don't know whether to call this miracle or could have been just coincidences or just my imaginations or something like that. So I am not going to claim that I had mysterious experience because I cannot prove that. But still, I find it very interesting to share with you people. When I started meeting people, to collect information on the life of Prabhakara Siddha Yogi, once I called one Mr. Venugopal Achari from Pathanamthitta. He is closely associated with the mission to propagate the ideals of Prabhakara Siddha Yogi, and he is also involved in a committee which is formed at the Samadhi Sthal of Prabhakara Siddha Yogi. Somebody gave me his mobile number, and I called him. He asked me whether I had any mysterious experiences and why I took up the mission to write a book on Prabhakara Siddha Yogi. I told him that I have read and heard about him right from my childhood days, and some of my relatives had met him and were devotees. But he was not satisfied. This man asked me, it's not possible to write a book on Prabhakara Siddha Yogi without his permission. And if he permits you, then he will show it through certain omens or experiences. I tried my level best to reminisce such things, but I was unable to recollect any such. He again persuaded me to think more. Then something came into my mind that right from my childhood days I used to meditate. I don't frequent temples, but I meditate often. So whenever I meditated right from my younger days, I used to feel the sweet smell of incense or sandalwood. So I told him about this experience, and then I was very particular not to present it as a miracle because it could be coincidence also. Somebody might have lighted an incense stick somewhere in the neighborhood, or a sweet smell might have wafted through the air. It could be something like that. But this man told me, oh, if that experience you had, then it means that you are the chosen one. Why? I asked him. He said, the sweet smell of an incense or sandalwood is the signature of Prabhakara Siddha Yogi. Whenever he visited any place, a sweet smell would arrive before him. Even it could be felt even half a kilometer away. So I was wonderstruck. I had read in books that, especially in the autobiography of a yogi, that enlightened ones or mystics, they develop certain siddhis or supernormal powers in course of their meditation. And some of the signs and some of their supernormal powers would become evident to the public even without their willful decision. So it is something like a signal given by the cosmos to the common man that here is an enlightened man and you can approach him and you can also experience this and you can evolve. There is a story that Gautama the Buddha, wherever he went, the nature will change itself. It would become spring, whatever be the season, it would be a hot summer. But when Gautama the Buddha arrived at the place, it would become immediately spring. All the trees and shrubs there would bloom. One could see flowers everywhere. This could be a gratitude of the nature. Whatever be it, this is the popular story. And I have read in the autobiography of a yogi that there was a mystic who lived in Calcutta who had the power of levitation. And he himself got a bit embarrassed sometimes because when he walks, he would rise to the skies. So he would not go out. He would stay inside the room. And even inside the room, when he was sitting in lotus posture or Padmasana, he would be seen floating in the air. He would not touch the floor without deliberate effort. Normally he would float around. It was like travelers to space. He had overcome gravity, something like that, I don't know. So this was the signature of Prabhakara Siddha Yogi. The interesting thing is that whoever had a first-hand experience of Prabhakara Siddha Yogi felt the same. This was shared, this story was shared to me by everybody who I met. I met around 30 people and all of them said, sweet smell used to emanate from the body of Prabhakara Siddha Yogi. So this finding of Mr. Venugopal actually surprised me. Okay, still I didn't believe. The agnostic in me prevented me from believing such things. Now, I'm going to tell about two interviews I did as part of collecting information. One was with Sharadama, a very pious devotee of Prabhakara Siddha Yogi who lives at Koni in Pathanamthitta district. I went there along with my friend and mentor, Mr. Radhakrishnan Kuttur, who was a former correspondent of the Hindu, and another person who was a relative of Sharadama. We went there. She received us warmly and took us inside. And she started sharing her experiences with the mystic. Then I started feeling a very pungent perfume smell. It was something like a base note of a perfume. I thought this Sharadama, the mother, might have used some perfume and maybe the smell was coming out of her body. So I moved near to him. I have already told you that I am a skeptic. I moved near to her, to check if the smell came out of her body. And I immediately realized that it was not coming out of her body. Then another doubt cropped up in my mind. It could be coming from a prayer room nearby where there is a picture of Prabhakara Siddha Yogi and a lamp is lighted. So, slyly, I found a reason to go inside the room and I checked. But there was no incense stick. And meanwhile, I noticed that some people have started noticing my strange behavior. So I stopped it there. After some time, Mr. Radhakrishnan Kutur, who was sitting beside me, he asked me whether I was feeling any sweet smell. I said yes. He said he also was feeling that. And it was a sort of suffocating to him. And when we finished the interview and we came out, the third person who was Sharadama's relative, he also told me that he couldn't sit inside because of the very strong smell in the room. So then I realized that it could have been the presence indicated the presence of Prabhakara Siddha Yogi. Could be Prabhakara Siddha Yogi was present there during our interview. And Sharadama is such a pious lady that I have not met many who share such devotion, such ardent devotion towards Prabhakara Siddha Yogi. There was only one more person who I think, among the nearly 30 people who I met, shared the same intensity of devotion with Sharadama, and that is Shankarapilla, a very senior devotee who stays at Ochara, who is a retired official from the Kerala Agriculture Department. So this was something mysterious and that intrigues my mind still now. From where could have the sweet smell come? It's most probable that the smell came from because of the presence, divine presence there. And another mystic experience I felt while I was returning from her home, Sharadama's home, to my home. I was driving my car and I was alone in the car. All the other friends who accompanied me had their own vehicles. When I started driving, I felt I was in a different world. But I didn't recognize it that time. I felt someone else was sharing the front seat. I don't know whether I had talked to the mysterious person or whether I was in a hallucination or dangerously whether I had fell into a nap. I don't know. I drove like that around 30 kilometers, the long winding, busy road, narrow road, without any problem. But when I reached a place called Chettukulangara, and there is a temple beside the road which is where it is written that this is the ancestral home of the goddess of Chettukulangara temple. Then I happened to look at the temple. Suddenly I realized that I was having some mysterious experience or hallucination, and there is none else was sharing the front seat. So it came something like a shock to me, because till then I was thinking that somebody was sitting beside me, and probably I might have been intermittently talking to that person. Anyway, I reached home without any problem. So these two incidents still I feel is beyond any explanation. Normally I am not a person who believes in miracles, because throughout my life I found that life is full of hard realities. There is nothing miraculous in life. Whether you like it or not, whether you want it or not, it's not easy to experience miracles. And my logic and my belief in common sense or something like that always prevents me from seeing the mysterious. And some of my friends even have chided me that it was my strict opposition to mysteries that prevents me from experiencing the supernormal. I don't know. So these two incidents stand out in course of my collecting information. And I need to mention something else also, because whenever I found that I needed more material, I found that somebody coincidentally or miraculously called me up and said he or she knew a person who had first hand experience, and they volunteered to lead me to the people who had seen or who know thoroughly about Prabhakara Siddha Yogi. This could also be something like a mystery. So I got help from unexpected corners. I was led by someone. I was told things. Whenever I felt, or whenever I doubted whether I have the permission to write a book on him, I found that someone came and persuaded me and challenged me to continue the book. And some of them even chided me. They said, "You have started writing a book and we have taken you to certain people. Why can't you finish this? Are you become so lazy?" So I found that such was the intervention. I don't know whether I can call this divine intervention from many sides. These things actually helped me to pursue my writing mission and pursue my investigation or collection of data. So all through writing this book, such experiences I have come across. This is for today. I will return with some other interesting episodes in the life of Prabhakara Siddha Yogi in the coming days. Till then, goodbye and namaskaram.